Welcome back. If you're just joining me, this is Society Watch on Atlantic Television Network. Joining me in this conversation is a public affairs analyst, Laurencia Choma Og. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. McNulty.
All right, our first story today is from Rivers State. The organized labor in Rivers State says the decision reached at the Joint National Executive Council meeting of the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria held in Abuja on Thursday will be followed strictly. The state chapter of the union, in a statement signed by the state's chairperson of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Comrade Alex Agwanwo, and his Trade Union Congress counterpart, Comrade Ikechukwu Onyefuru, said the national secretary of the council, after reviewing the level of the federal government's response to the number of the demanding, including the failure of exploring the principle of social dialogue in resolving trade disputes. The National Secretariat of both Congresses in the meeting therefore have directed all affiliates at the state level to mobilize their members to withdraw their services from tomorrow, Tuesday, for today, Tuesday, 14 November 2023. To press home labor demand for the better working environment, in Rivers State said a task force to monitor compliance of all union is also enforced and reminded workers that injury to one is injury to all. What specific role do the task force play in ensuring compliance, and what measures are they authorized to take in case of non-compliance?
All right, thank you, Mrs. McNulty. Well, the
has faced disruption at various bus stops in Lagos State on Monday. Officials of the Lagos State Transport Management Authority, the drivers displeased with the activities of the Lagos State Environment and Special Offences Enforcement Unit withdraw their workers staging procession at different locations, with incidents of resistance and police officers along the Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway, leading to the use of tear the issue of extortion is cannot be overemphasized. It's not something we are just seeing for the first time. And then the special advisor for government transportation, that's talking about Solar, said that they cannot go back on what they have started. And what we'll ask, does it mean that extortion is legal?
The content of the law may empower the LATMA, in this case, to operate, and they are expected to operate within the confines of the law. However, it is also possible that LATMA is actually overextending, or they are going beyond. For me, I think that they appropriately, especially when there is protest and people are crying out, the focus is not, the people are not saying abolish LASMA. From what you have said, from what is on the news, they are saying stop the extortion. So the special advisor in this case did not address the
still hear that the commuters yesterday were left stranded because they are protesting, so nobody is to render anybody service. And he's giving this kind of result. Do you think their protest will yield any results? Positive results?
Their protests will yield results. Let me tell you, the transportation system, the transportation business is a very profitable business. Do you know how much IGR that is generated on a daily just from transportation? The government is losing out economically. The government is losing out, and the masses are suffering. So it will tell on the government. It will tell on the income of the government. And they need the money, the millions that is generated on a daily from these transporters.
Look, at the time we gave and felt as a responsible Plan Nigerian organization that we should give additional 1 week to see if the government will be responsive. And to further draw the attention of the government, we had a picketing section last week, Thursday, But instead of government to come out strongly to condemn this criminality, instead of government to speak and stand on the side of justice, some people in government were rather running their mouth and making all kind of statements. So the two Labour said, again, what is your position on this? The
National president of the Nigerian Labour Congress was attacked at Imo State. And they went there on a rally because of the working condition of the labor workers in Imo State. They went there on a rally to address issues bordering on the working conditions of labor workers in Imo State, and it was attacked. And it's sad that I wouldn't want to use the word the masses or common people, but it's sad that Nigerians seem not to have their way, or they don't have.
All right, this is Society Watch on Atlantic Television Network. We go on a short break.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN COVID.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
you understand.
Welcome back. It is just
Who did that? Both from the state government and from the federal government, it was not condemned. There was absolute silence. And then they decide to embark on a strike, and the government is coming out to say it's emotional blackmail. You know, in Nigeria, we have a history where people are killed, people are massacred by insurgents, you know, a lot of things, and the government is silent. In Nigeria, it's sad that there is no value for human life. Do this to a citizen of America and the world will stand still. But in Nigeria, you're mere chronological. People die, and it's as if animals die. In fact, cattle have more value than human life. How can an attack of such nature, this is barbaric, be perpetrated on a rally, and the government is saying nothing about it? The Governor Hope Uzodinma, is the Chief Security Officer of Imo State. And such thing happened under his purview. It happened on his turf, and he could not come out to say a word or to condemn it. How is that okay? Does that mean by implication, does his silence insinuate that it was okay that the labor workers in Imo State are working under such conditions, legality and illegality? Because everything right now is all muddled up. Does that mean that the workers in Imo State cannot have a voice? They cannot in Imo State. Workers are also affected. Workers are also affected. We're not talking about that right now. But does that mean that these people that perpetrated this act have the backing of the government? Because this gives rise, it gives rise to a lot of questions. Because if something happens, a rally of this nature is happening in a state, and there is law, there is disorder, and the number one man of that rally is captured, is dealt with, you know, and there are a lot of speculations around it, and the governor is silent. And there is a total shutdown, and the presidency comes out to say, oh, this is emotional blackmail. Does that mean that the presidency is in line with what is going on in Imo State? At what point do we as workers have rights? Now, not just that. One of the major issues, you know, that TUC chairman outlined is the fact that they have tried, they've exhausted all avenues of dialogue to get the government to come to an agreement. Whatever it is they have agreed, at least implement it. You know, after that agreement, they called off the strike, it didn't hold. After a while, the government did not carry out their promise. They threatened another strike. On the eve of that day that the strike is supposed to hold, they called it off because the government promised yet again that, oh, we are going to, you know, fulfill our promises. I think the strike has been called off like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, it has. Maybe that's why they are saying that it's emotional.
Because at this point, NLC and TUC appears to be a toothless bulldog, a dog that can bark and not bite. Because you keep telling your people, you gather them, you gather momentum. When they're supposed to go, why can't they go on a warning strike?
Do you think they're going to bite this time?
I think they're biting already.
All right. Let's look at the last story
and it's a good
today.
thing.
Okay, let's just hope that this time they are going to bite.
I hope. Actually, they are biting already because the strike is on. My prayer is that the government actually fulfills that which they have promised.
All right. It's still today.
Today is the Thursday.
All right. Our last story for today is Biafra. The indigenous people of Biafra warn the Department of the State Service to be careful with handling its leader, Nnamdi Kanu's matter, over DSS decision to deny the IPOB leaders access to visitors. IPOB spokesperson Emma Powerful, in a statement, said the global family and the movement of the indigenous people of Biafra, able led by our prophet and supreme leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, raised alarm over the denial and the harassment of our leaders' visitors by the DSS headquarters staff in Abuja. On Thursday, the 9th of November 2023, DSS refused to allow Mazi Nnamdi Kanu access to his visitors on a flimsy excuse, a claim of not having enough personnel to handle the logistics for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's visitors because of Imo, Bayelsa and Kogi state election by Abuja. DSS as a reason for denying Mazi Nnamdi Kanu access to weekly visitors is ridiculously laughable. During the general election of presidential, governorship, National Assembly and State Assembly, our leader was allowed visitors to visit him at the DSS solitary confinement and detention facilities. So why should DSS deprive Mazi Nnamdi Kanu of visitors because of Imo, Kogi and Bayelsa state governorship election? This is a calculated attempt to torture and make things difficult for him. The DSS executive excuse of denying our leaders visitors as ordered by the court is suspicious. We therefore want DSS to be careful in handling the issues of our leaders. We do not expect any excuse or selective visitors for our leaders going forward. That's from the IPOB.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Of course, they have said what they have to say here,
Yeah.
but one will still ask, what evidence or information should IPOB have to support the claim and torture attempts by being made against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu by the DSS? I know they have said a whole lot here,
Yes.
but will you say there's something tangible to hold on to that?
Well,
Explain.
to be candid, they denying Nnamdi Kanu access to visitors
Is that torture?
when he's in solitary confinement. Solitary confinement on its own is a form of torture. When you are in a place, perhaps with a very tiny window, alone, without phone, nobody to speak to, nobody to share your thoughts with, that's torture on its own. It's a form of torture, right? But now, my own concern is this. If during the presidential and gubernatorial elections, he was allowed access to visitors, do not forget that those elections were running back to back and it took access to visitors. Now, my concern will be, what is the state of Nnamdi Kanu? What is his state health-wise? What is his state physically? Is he still alive? If he's okay, why deny him access? You know, to some extent, I agree that the excuse of not having enough personnel because of elections in very few states is ridiculously preposterous at best. You know, because if you say you don't have enough personnel, I'm sure there are personnel within that facility, of course. Why not allow at least one visitor? Why deny visitors? You can allow one visitor, even if it's one visitor a week, one visitor a day, because you don't have enough personnel. So it is not right.
You know, we can't possibly judge this because, I mean, one cannot possibly judge this because this is from IPOB. We have heard from the DSS. So
Of course.
we do not know if 1 or 2 visitors are allowed in a week or in a day. But this is their own claim. That was why I asked, do they have concrete evidence to show that indeed no visitor is allowed, that it is a complete denial?
How do you get evidence in a scenario like that?
When 2 parties speak.
When 2 parties speak and DSS is silent. So, because when they speak, you can now say they reacted to this, but they are silent. And they can only cry out because you cannot record, you cannot get that evidence. So the much you can do is to speak up.